Pulitzer here, and I just wanted to talk to you a few minutes about, well, of course, Curse of Oak Island Season 7. I've been watching the chatter today in the Facebook groups and online. Of course, everybody's kind of excited about the Season 7 coming out, but they're also a little bit confused about what's going on with these new broadcast episodes that they've introduced, what's the easiest way to say, reviews of everything that's been found, or why are they doing recaps, etc. So I wanted to kind of come on and just kind of talk to everybody about it and say, there's a I posted that it was very discouraging for me to watch the broadcast last night. And of course, last night was the 25 best finds related to Oak Island and everything, and doing a recap. And I expressed this morning when I posted that I was kind of seriously frustrated with watching the show again, because on a interesting level, it just kind of mucks with my head, deciphering between history and television. Of course, everybody, just kind of digs this Oak Island thing. People, love it and love to see the brothers and what they want to accomplish in this season 7. Can you believe it's season 7? I mean, think about that. You're probably invested, what? 7, 23, 70. You're invested over 100 hours. 100 hours of Curse of Oak Island. Have you ever thought about that? 100 hours. That's almost an education, right? Think about that in school terms, of when you got like school credits or stuff. Think about being that invested in something. And that's why I wanted to know is, will you actually be watching season 7? 7 seasons. That's 7 years of doing this. How do you feel about that? I want to kind of get just some of your, comments and question on it, because for me, I'm gonna tell you what happened with me. Is I watched the program last night, and I found myself upset. I didn't find myself happy that the show was going on, or the show was coming back. I found myself actually upset, and I had to try to think. I had to put my finger on it as, why was I so upset about it? And I realized that this was a very, very personal thing for me, right? It was a very personal thing for me. And the issue about it being very personal is because the fact that I'm intimately involved with the project, and I inherently know in some ways more than the actual regular viewer. I tried to reconcile forensic history with history television, which is something completely different, right? Something completely different. And that's why I wanted to join you here and say, hey, let's talk about this. We're talking about, of course, season 7. It's about to come in, and there's been a lot of chatter on the net. Here's one from Zane wrote that, hey, that they heard that something was actually found a few days ago. And then, of course, we all have to add that, well, we shall see. then there's people like Troy says, only watching if it's not recaps. It's always going to be recaps. And then, of course, there's educated viewers like Teresa that says, I'm watching, but I do my own research and I want to dig in it. And then there's people that say, look, hey, like Judith says, I stopped watching 2 seasons ago. Last night for me, of course, I heard about season 1 when it first came out. Okay, that was my very first exposure to a reality TV show. No joke. I or my family never, ever, ever, ever watched reality television before. Of course, I knew what the Idiots of Jersey Shore was, and I knew, Keeping Up with the Class. I mean, Keeping Up with the Classless. No, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I knew what those things were. I knew what reality television was, but was not a consumer of reality television. And so, Curse of Oak Island, because it was so near and dear to my heart. Here's a show that comes out years later after I had written one of my first books mentioning Curse of Oak Island. And then, of course, it's something near and dear to my heart. So I jump in wholeheartedly and watch season 1. It was 5 shows. They shot 6, 5 only made it air. And then lo and behold, right after that, I get the call from the producers saying, hey, we want to really turn this series into something. And we think that, you're the guy to help us do it, to dig into this great thing and help us do it. Because now we need to learn the real techniques about going about it. So I jumped in and I said, great. And then, of course, became part of season 2. And after season 3, I had said, I've had enough. And so I haven't watched any episodes since season 3. So I stopped about 3-4 episodes into season 3. Yeah, I guess it was season 3, right towards the end. And then no part of season 3, no season 4, no season 5, no season 6. And so last night was my first big foray into watching again. And it was tough for me. And this is the easiest way to kind of express it. It wasn't that I'm not glad to see it. It wasn't that I'm not happy for the brothers or to have the brothers get going. It was that I was so disappointed. If you really look at it, the recap of 25, and you look at the fines and stuff, they talked about, of course, the coconut fibers, and they talked about the parchment. Simple things with me just disconnect the parchment. Parchment is basically an animal skin, a dried animal skin that you write on. How did they drill a drill into a waterlogged island hole, and it brought up a piece of dried parchment still stuck to the drill with all the water? Well, and they found a little bitty speck, it's like a corner off a postage stamp. How is that possible? And the answer is that it's not possible, because the parchment would have been a gummy ball, right? It had been a gummy ball. It would have never even been readable or anything. But yet, these so-called facts are presented that this parchment was found, and it logically defies truth. Or even the gold, the gold chain, the parchment was found when the island needed more money to keep on going. Magically, the parchment was found. The 1704 stone was found when they were out of money. Magically, the stone was found. Here it is. The gold link on the drill bit that said they drilled through 6 feet or 10 feet or 12 feet or even 2 feet, whatever it really was, of gold, and they brought up a little piece of gold. Well, that was a piece of a watch chain, a very, very, very strong little piece of a watch chain that actually years later somebody confessed to putting there so they could continue the funding. And so what happened is, when you got logic that tells you that you're right, Teresa, that the parchment's going to be gray gump, and it's just not going to be there. I'm going, for myself. This is only for me. Only for me. And this is why I'm asking, will you actually watch season 7 Curse of Oak Island? Here's what my mind tells me. My mind tells me that if in the TV world, the numbers, everybody's numbers are off. Everybody's numbers are off. History Channel has one hit show, and that's The Curse of Oak Island. The anchor for all of History Channel that's carrying the History Channel right now is Curse of Oak Island. And then I'm surprised Civil War Gold's working, but it's working. And then, of course, on Discovery, you got the typical Gold shows. But across the board, nothing's working for anybody. A prime example, even, people we follow and know and you love and follow stuff, America on Earth. Scott went back and they renewed America on Earth with Travel Channel. Absolute dud, zero. The viewers aren't there. And so I think the TV world's crying out for something new and something more creative and something more daring. And so I'm wondering, with the success of Curse of Oak Island, here's this huge pent up demand, treasure hunting shows, and of course everybody scrambled to kind of duplicate it. But then all of a sudden, are we on the backside now? Are we now seeing where the fans are so frustrated? That's the word I'm looking for. So frustrated with the lack of evidence, or very little evidence, or the stupid aspects of some of the stuff, and never really giving true facts, or even following up stuff, just like the bones following up. Okay, you dig, you get bones, but then you stop, and the bones are old, or some of this other stuff. Are they now finding that the numbers are dropping off? Because people have hit their saturation point, that they're hoping that in building out these 25 great finds, and of course the next one's the 25 great theories and all this other stuff, are they trying to regroom a whole new audience? Because so much of this, the core audience, the people that for so long, us, that so long supported it and got into it, have finally said, man, freaking enough is enough. Do something, deliver something, or stay in something, quit hopping around. Do you think that's what's going on? So I want to know from you. You can just answer the stream, or you can give a thumbs up or love, or whatever the case may be. Is I want to know, will you be investing your time into season 7 here? And if you are going to invest your time in season 7, what will make it a payoff for you? Will it be, they got to find the great cash? Or will it be that they just bring in some new theory? How much more time will you give it? Secondly, and this is why I'm just curious about this, what would it take for you as a fan of the show? What would it take for you to consider Curse of Oak Island season 7 coming up a success? Is it the fact that they just dig? Is that it? I mean, is that enough for you, that they just keep on digging and there's this great brotherly love, right? What is it that will help you stay in and do it? So let's kind of look at what some of the people are saying. Of course, Teresa said, pretty sure that it disappoints serious researchers, and you're 100% correct there, right? Miles Jacobs says, I'll DVR it and then I go through it. Roger says he thinks it's Vikings, or maybe you're saying, Roger, that you're going to watch Vikings instead, not that. John resonates the tone that everybody else says. I'm just tired of all the recaps. Bill Kelly, who you all know, says, I think the future is uncharted, but there's an opportunity to raise the bar. Bill, that's my question. Will they raise the bar? Will everything be bite Vienna sausage weenie sizes, but never any resolution? Let's put one to bed and let's go to the next, or is it just holding them all up in the air? Tiffany, has her own thing. She says she thinks the English were behind it, right? I think the English were behind it. Privateers hired by the English did sell to Acadia. You're exactly right. Teresa says she's agreeing that she's pretty sure that that's what's happening, but meaning building a new audience. Michael Todd, I want to quit and have an addiction patch I can use. Michael, we can sympathize with you, brother. We have all been there, and we've all wondered, why do we keep on doing this? I mean, for a long time, the drinking game was every time somebody said, I got wood, and then everybody would sniff wood. I mean, it's stuff. But Stuart says he's going to keep on watching. Stuart, I think, is over in the UK. John said he heard there's 35 episodes this season. I've heard there's 21 episodes this evening. I don't really know. Michael says he's in just for the mystery. Michael, all of us started here for the mystery, and we either get hooked or we don't. But just like Simon says, it's like watching a train wreck slowly crumpling together. You're right. Now, and Simon brought up a good point. Simon loves America Unearthed. America Unearthed is an easy one to understand because here's the legend, here's what's known, here's new clues, here's a synopsis of what it is, case closed, move on to the next one. That's an easy one to understand. It's all encompasses beginning, middle, and end of the story. Bruce says 25 stories is just made up fluff. It's made up fluff. It's an interesting thing in TV that the producers, to ramp up their money, remember they get a fixed amount per show, right? And let's just for shits and giggles say they get $500,000 a show, an episode. The way you rump that up is to produce more episodes. And if you remember, season 1 was 5, although they produced 6. Season 2 was 10, season 3 was 10. Then they started doing the digging deepers. That's how they push out the things, right? And stretch the shows and get more content out of it, right? But like Teresa says, maybe more reporting on the truth. Mark says maybe the payoff has got to be a boat. The people are enamored, just like Stuart's saying here, the swamp structure. There's more likely to be the swamp thing than there is to be the swamp structure. I'm wondering if it's what history has shown us is that everything that was on top of the hill at the old money pit got pushed down into the swamp to kind of push it all over and everything. That could be where all the lumber, all the towers and stuff you see built with the trolleys and everything else. If you follow that path, it could be pushed right down there, and that could be what's under the water. Who knows? Roger Snell says probably watch the first couple of new episodes and then go from there. Now, I have to agree with Simon. I enjoy the history too, but I have to tell you, I didn't sleep last night. I value my serenity. I value my sleep, and I stayed up and watched, right? And I put out to the group, and just an overwhelming amount of you, 14, almost 15,000 of you, the overwhelming percentage said, hey, do a recap of each and every show that comes out. That would be really great. And man, I'm struggling with it. I'm struggling with it because it was painful. And it's not that the pain, I can endure the pain and I can endure the frustration, and I, like anybody else, can scream at the TV, but I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep. Now think about that. When something is when you know so much about what's there, and you know so much about the actual history and some of the things and what the HO stone and everything leads to, you become very frustrated. I'm finding the difference between a dedicated, sophisticated researcher that actually understands what there and here's how it happened and here's where it occurred, compared to 90% of the stuff being there, and I see all this misdirection and other stuff. And the lead in is us doing. We're watching Maddie do EMP, right? EMP, and it just happens to be the guy that's the preferred ghost guy for history, and they're doing a new show for him. So they brought him in to get him a little airtime to see how he played to the audience. But everybody's going, oh, I can hear him say, I'm chained, let me out of here, whatever the case may be. How much of that can all of us take? You're right, Maureen. We all need addiction packages. Now, Anne-Marie, so she says it's interesting. She found the show, but also the pages. Hello from Germany. How you doing? Guten Tag. It's great. The pages are where you get the deep stuff, right? And Charlie, you're right. I should get away from Curse of Oak Island and continually just to work on my missions and live stream my expeditions. Literally over the last few years, we haven't had the ability to live stream when I'm on mission. Now you can. The coverage and everything has gotten so good in the field that we could actually live stream finds. The question is, how could you put it all together for all of you that you could watch it episodically and it wouldn't just be on, off, on, off, on, off, how we do things. But yeah, if we could just stream to you and you could drop in anytime you wanted. I tested a long stream the other day. I tested a 10-hour stream, 10 hours continuous stream. But it would be interesting to see if we could do that. Now that would be really interesting if you could watch the real McCoy as it goes. And it's because, on the television side, Darren's right. There's a Thrill of the Hunt and Thrill of the Unknown, and there's a ton of history about Oak Island in general. But you have to dig on your own. See, on television, you're seeing. Okay, what you're seeing is what's called the 5-to-1. That's just the minimum. The 5-to-1. That means for every 1 minute, and by the way, Oak Island's almost like 14-to-1, I think is the real number, but the standard in the industry is called a 5-to-1. That means for every 1 minute that makes it to TV, there's 5 minutes of other stuff that you didn't see that could have been there. It's all about overshooting. So the cameras just run. Although it'd be very interesting, right? It'd be really interesting if you could bebop back and forth, like when they brought up Restall for a point, you could pause the video and click it and then get all the whole Restall story and then go back to the programming. By the way, that's something that's coming up in the future in television and stuff, right? It'll be deeper, it'll be interactive for you, especially with 5G. But that's the deal. We all kind of have desire to get to dig more into the history and to kind of get a resolve on any of this here. I think that's really the question is no resolve. Maybe that's it. I get frustrated with the no resolve. More importantly, I get frustrated with I'm a teacher. I want to teach you how to do it. I want to teach you how to dig for this stuff. So I get frustrated with all the fluffy puff, which is not going to teach you anything because you shouldn't be messing with some of these things because it's not stuff. Simon says I need Prozac. Yeah, Prozac might help. Not my thing. You might get some melatonin in me with a shot of cherry juice to enhance my melatonin. But Mark's right. We have a vested interest. Think about this. put it into some real life terms. If you have marginally participated in the groups to a somewhat equal amount of the show, so meaning equal amount of time that you've watched the broadcast and or reruns, and you put an equal amount of time into the groups, researching and digging, do you realize in dollars, now of course it's part of your cable bill, but just put it into context, in reality, if the average wage is $50,000-$60,000 in the US, whatever the average median wage is now, you have invested $5,000 of your time. Meaning, if this was a job, that was what you would have gotten paid for that month plus of your life. You've invested $5,000 of your time in this program. Is it paying off for you? Right? Just like Bill Kelly says, we never sleep on Thursdays, and that's why I'm asking: are you going to watch season 7? It's just kind of a check. Are you going to watch season 7? That's my interest. Is what are you going to do? Are you going to watch into season 7? Because I'm just curious, where do us, I call us the core fans. We're the hardcore fans. We're not the passive fans. We're although you may be eating nachos when you watch the show. We're kind of more the passive shows, right? But we want some wrap up of this. Now, Bonnie, who's been with us a long time, says she's hanging in for the truth to come out. It may not come from the show, but others will take up the cause, guaranteed. Bonnie, that's why I love you. You're absolutely correct. And then there are those that probably have a better guess. And Stuart asked, what do you think honestly is there? And he says, basically, I think the treasure is fresh running water. Now, there's a provable fact. Old wood, buried wood, lots of rocks, and fresh running water is the treasure there, because water is very valuable. Debbie says irritation to know you have the answers when you sit back and watch the Hollywood aspect. The facts of the area, the island, the finds, and other things are 100% at odds with what's presented for television. Now, Tiffany hit the nail on the head, and this is why I'm asking it. And this might be exactly why you're seeing so many lead-up episodes this year, and you're seeing that push by producers doing all these special episodes. Tiffany says if they don't find anything season 7, I think it will be canceled. Now, let me give you a little bit of insight here. Money buys everything. And in season 2, I would have told you that the brothers really couldn't get bought off. But now they're at the part where they've changed from where it was, $10,000 an episode to $20,000 an episode. Now they're in the six figures payday per episode. That basically means if you're in an episode, you're getting far more, but it's going to use a simple number, $100,000 an episode. It's far more than that. And you do 20 episodes, you just made $2 million for the year. So the push nail bob be to keep it going and getting past that anomaly of the 7th season is you got to really ramp up the audience, because you're going to have such a quick attrition rate that you got to put in new viewers. Hey, Joe Fox, how's it going? And because you have to put in these new viewers, you've got to drive these numbers through the roof. Is that what we're seeing? Is we're seeing a really vested interest in getting the new viewers coming in quick, so they start getting people hooked with new good numbers because they know there's going to be such an attrition come from this season, right? That people will fall off, or maybe it's like Teresa, right? Teresa says what makes it better for her is Cheetos and wine. Bill Kelly says he watches it naked. I heard that if they had a party and Teresa watches with Cheeto and wine and Bill watches naked, that he went to the doctor the next day because he couldn't figure out why his wanker was orange. Anyway, here's a suggestion. Do it live, Bill. There you go. Anyway, Debbie says she's gained 30 pounds to the point Oak Island was the culprit. I'm going to tell you some really good thing. As you've already noticed, I am almost 50 pounds lighter than I was when you saw me on Oak Island. A few things happened, but I got control of a health issue that got ahead of me and then really started. So I'm 50 pounds lighter. So for me, it's worked opposite, although it is one of those shows that could drive you to drink. Why? Because just like Steve says, smoke and mirrors keep us hooked. So Bill just got my joke about having an orange wanker, right? You didn't know about Bill? Bill was like, went to the doctor, and Bill was having a serious health issue. And I know Bill, I've promised to never tell anybody this, but Bill's my buddy. He'll understand. But as we, and what we're talking about is, are you going to watch season 7? But Bill, for one time got hurt on the job and was unemployed. And Bill actually thought that he had caught, because Bill's an explorer, and you're going to be seeing Bill pretty soon on TV. By the way, I'm just going to give you a heads up, but you're going to be seeing a Bill on TV, right? But Bill thought he had this weird, funky jungle rot, right? And because he was working on this Maya project, and one day he gets up and and he looks, and his Mr. Winky is like bright orange, like horribly bright orange, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm sick!" And he rushes to the doctor, and the doctor does all this test and everything, and and basically they can't find anything wrong with them, right? Anything wrong with them. And then the doctor says, "Well, what have you changed in your lifestyle?" And Bill says, "Well, I'm like hooked on this television show called Curse of Oak Island, right? I just sit there all day long and I just watch Oak Island." And the doctor says, "Well, I don't think that would give you jungle rot. That sounds weird, Bill. I mean, what else have you changed in your life?" And he says, "Well, I've gained a little weight." And the doctor goes, "Well, watching television show and gaining a little weight won't make Mr. Winky turn orange, right?" And he goes, "Something else has got to be wrong, Bill. Just tell me about what you're doing." And Bill says, "Well, I'm watching Oak Island and I'm sitting there naked and I'm eating Cheetos." Now I know why Mr. Winky's orange. Anyway, so Simon says, ready? For me, from all I read, I watch the show to see what is going to be found, ignoring the narrative and looking past it, looking at the finds. Finds are good. Finds are good. Yes, Bill's still rolling on the floor laughing. You gave yourself away there with Cheetos. Oh no! Oh no! Anyway, here's what I would do. If I controlled this show, I would put out all of the extra bites, all the shooting stuff. I think I'd put it out there for everybody to see, to watch the overage. I'll do it in categories, and then you could go and watch all the extra stuff, and you could put together more research and more information, because an informed viewer is a evangelistic viewer that would actually tell more friends about the show. And so that's what really has me curious. I'm struggling with, should I do a recap every broadcast, talking about what you see on TV, what may be the facts, here's what you may go research, or maybe here's some insight. I want to do it for you, because it brings me great pleasure to do it. And I want to help you along your path learning these things. But then there's a side of it going, man, is it really worth that time? If every time I'm going to do it, am I going to have a sleepless night because I'm yelling at the TV and the wood sniffing? So I'm not sure yet. I'm just not sure yet. I'm really not sure. I don't know, right? I don't know. So that's what I wanted to bring up to tell you. Bill's still laughing at it. Bill's still laughing at the joke. And what is he laughing at? He's laughing at it because it'll be fun. What were you talking about, Bill? The show, the episodes, or watching season 7 with you naked eating Cheetos? Everybody's saying yes, do the recap. I'm gonna seriously contemplated. What am I gonna do? Maureen's right, keeping the newbies informed. Debbie says about once a month. There could be a once a month, but I think so much time goes from the attention span theater that it might not be as effective, right? Yes, I have to do what's best for me. Teresa, you're exactly right. I do like to point the other stuff out. Yes, it would be live. Debbie says cherry juice and Cheetos. That would look like a very nasty infection. Red cherry, orange Cheetos. Anyway, okay, folks. So I just wanted to tell you what I was thinking. I want to tell you what I post. I'm in this love-hate struggle at the moment to decide what to do. I would like to support everybody. I'd like to honor you with the recaps and the information. I just want to be totally honest with you. It is a very love-hate personal struggle-ship relationship with me at the moment. And I will try to make a hard decision and see. Right now, I'm inclined to say no, but it might just be too raw of a wound. Anyway, we'll see what we do. Bill Kelly, love you too, brother. Says maybe every other week. I'll let you know. But there you go. 25. It was 25 greatest finds. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? 25 greatest finds to date. And there was coming up as the 25 greatest theories. I thought there were 4 of these, and they did all of the 25 in one show. So maybe it's 25 finds, 25 theories, 25 best moments, 25 worst moments. I don't know what they're going to do, but supposedly there's 4 of these special episodes. So I'll think about the recaps. I'll let you know. I appreciate it, everybody. Okay? Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.